Have you ever stopped to ponder how an event as seemingly localized as a US government shutdown could ripple across the globe, impacting the world's financial markets? It's a fascinating thought, isn't it? Picture this: a butterfly perched on the edge of a cherry blossom tree in Washington, D.C. Its wings are a vibrant shade of orange, its antennae twitching in anticipation. It takes off, its wings flapping gently as it ascends into the cool, crisp air. But this is no ordinary butterfly. This butterfly you see is a metaphor, a symbol of an unsuspecting catalyst. As it flaps its wings, a butterfly effect begins. Its tiny gusts of air, seemingly insignificant, start a chain reaction. An economic wave is invisible to the naked eye, yet mighty in its impact. It crosses the Atlantic Ocean, passing skyscrapers and lighthouses, till it reaches the shores of Europe. It dances through the streets of London, infiltrating the bustling trading floors. From London, it travels south, swooping past the pyramids of Egypt and the vast savanna of Africa, till it arrives in Johannesburg. It then embarks on a journey towards the east, across the Indian Ocean, until it finally reaches Tokyo. In each city, the wave disturbs the rhythm of the financial market. It shakes the very foundations of the world economy. The market reacts, stock prices fluctuate, dealing rooms buzz with nervous energy, all triggered by the initial flapping of wings. But how does this happen? How can something as local as a US government shutdown lead to such global repercussions? How does the butterfly effect work in the complex world of finance? Well, let's unravel this intriguing interplay of politics, economics, and finance. Our story begins in the grand and imposing halls of Congress, where, like a malevolent apparition looming ominously, the specter of a government shutdown takes center stage. Every corner reverberates with the echoes of heated discussions, impassioned debates, and the urgent ring of telephones. Behind the marble and beneath opulent chandeliers, a political storm is brewing. At the heart of this looming crisis are congressional disputes, seething and turbulent, over the thorny issue of the debt ceiling, the allocation of government funding, and the sprawling and complex details housed within President Biden's ambitious infrastructure package. These discussions and disagreements have reached a fever pitch, crackling with tension, each party entrenched in their beliefs, their demands. If the debt ceiling, a limit set by law on the amount of money the federal government may borrow, isn't raised, the government could come perilously close to running out of money by the middle of October. This is an unfathomable scenario, a reality that not only threatens to destabilize the nation's economy, but would also have far-reaching implications across sectors and borders. This is not simply a game of political brinkmanship. It's a high-risk gamble, a showdown where the fallout is not just political, but extends to all areas of society and indeed, the economy. The stakes are as high as they could possibly be. The mere looming threat of a potential default is enough to feelings of unease and insecurity, and what's more, it has the capacity to send seismic shocks through the vast and interconnected global economy. Its impact wouldn't just be felt domestically, but it would reverberate across borders, shaking the very bedrock of international economic equilibrium. Think for a moment the American citizens who rely heavily on government programs such as Social Security and Medicaid. These are not just mere government schemes, they are lifelines for millions. Imagine the scenario if these safety nets were to be abruptly cut off. Suddenly, the most vulnerable sections of society would find themselves left out in the cold, with their lifelines severed. The repercussions wouldn't be limited to America alone. There would be a ripple effect, spreading outwards from the epicenter. It would be felt in economies far beyond US borders, creating a global shockwave of instability. The domino effect could potentially destabilize markets worldwide, causing a widespread crisis that would take years, if not decades, to recover from. All this because of a political game that is anything but simple. As we move along our timeline, we witness the tension in the political landscape soar to alarming heights. The Democrats, with their split focus on two critical pieces of legislation, the bipartisan infrastructure bill and the broad-scale social spending plan, find themselves in a balancing act. This act is akin to walking a tightrope, their every move scrutinized by the nation and the world. The bipartisan infrastructure bill and the larger social spending plan both stand as testaments to the Democrats' ambitious goals. The infrastructure bill, largely focused on enhancing the nation's transportation, broadband, and utilities, aims to create millions of jobs and strengthen the US economy. Meanwhile, the social spending plan, a prized jewel of the Democratic Party, proposes to make unprecedented investments in education, healthcare, and change, aspects they believe are key to a resilient and equitable future. However, this daring venture is fraught with risk. With merely a razor-thin majority in the Senate, the Democrats are walking on a thin ice. The need to overcome the filibuster, the Senate rule requiring a supermajority to end debate on a bill, further complicates their endeavor. This is not a game for the faint-hearted. It's a high-stakes, high-wire act performed under the unblinking gaze of the public, the media, and the markets. Time is one of the major adversaries. Each tick of the clock amplifies the urgency, the pressure, and the uncertainty. The markets, with their hypersensitivity to political shifts, are watching closely, ready to react at the slightest sign of victory or defeat. Meanwhile, the clock is ticking and the markets are watching. Germany, already wrestling with the repercussions of Russia's gas shutdown, watches with anxious anticipation. Tensions are high as the global economy hangs in the balance. The ripples of this crisis are felt far and wide, not just in Germany, but all across Europe. The European powerhouse is precariously perched on the edge, its robust economy feeling the brunt of this international energy crisis. The US, nestling on the other side of the Atlantic, is not isolated from this situation either. The symbiotic relationship between these two global powerhouses means that economic health in one has repercussions for the other. The US, revered for its economic stability and robustness, is not just a bystander in this crisis, it's a crucial player. As a significant trading partner, the US plays an integral role in Germany's economic health. The intricate web of international trade ties these nations together, making the potential US recession a looming threat for Germany. Any slowdown in the US could echo across the ocean, impacting Germany's exports and thus its economy. This, combined with the energy crisis, could be the tipping point, pushing the already vulnerable German economy into a recession. The stakes are high, the landscape is turbulent, and all eyes are on these two economic titans as the world watches nervously. Germany, already grappling with the fallout from Russia's gas shutdown, watches nervously. The US is a major trading partner, and a slowdown could tip the already shaky German economy into a recession. Meanwhile, half a world away, Lebanon, already reeling from a financial crisis, a pandemic, and a port explosion, sees another blow. This small Mediterranean country, wedged between Israel and Syria, and best known for its rich history, vibrant culture, and renowned cuisine, is in the throes of an unprecedented crisis. The challenges they face are manifold, not least of all being the relentless swing of an ever-tightening economic vice. Their situation is further compounded by an ongoing global pandemic which has devastated the world's economies, and a disastrous port explosion that has added another level of calamity to an already dire state of affairs. The combination of these crises has led to an alarming depreciation of the Lebanese pound, which has lost over 90% of its value since 2019. Now, a fresh blow strikes Lebanon. The US, one of the world's largest economies and a key trading partner, has shut down, putting a significant dent in Lebanon's export revenue. This additional financial strain threatens to further destabilize the country's already fragile economy. The Lebanese pound, which has already depreciated by over 90% since 2019, could face even more pressure. Let's take a step back and reflect on the key points we've touched upon. We started with the US government shutdown, a local event with global repercussions. We traced the events leading up to it, from the congressional disputes over the debt ceiling to the threat of default. We then explored how these events could impact global markets, using Germany and Lebanon as case studies. In conclusion, the US government shutdown is not just a domestic issue. It's a global concern, revealing the interconnectedness of our world's economies. The butterfly in Washington, D.C. doesn't just create a storm, it stirs up a financial tempest that touches every corner of the globe.